So BeatEmUps makes a response to his "I'll no longer be working with Nintendo" video, and he makes some interesting points, and I want to discuss them. So here we go.
Skip it up and that up.
So I actually made another response video to Wood's initial Nintendo ambassador video. I'll have it at the end screen here in this video if you want to go check it out. And I honestly wasn't even going to make that video, but then I watched BeatEmUps or Woodhawker's original Nintendo ambassador video, and I'm saying video quite a bit right now, aren't I? But that's okay. People were telling me, look what happened to BeatEmUps, look what happened to BeatEmUps. I'm like, all right, you know, stuff happens. And I watch it, I'm like, you know what, this signifies a much bigger problem, not only with sponsorships, which being in the ambassador program, you don't make any money, and Wood stated flat out that he didn't make a penny from it, but it still doesn't matter. It kind of dictates why the content you see on YouTube is the way it is, because everyone has to toe a thin line to make everybody happy, and it's infuriating. So when I saw his video and I saw he was dropped from the Nintendo's ambassador program, it pissed me off, and that's why I made a video. So there you go. And he brings up some other stuff in his response video, and I want to discuss it now. And I have some notes here. And the first thing he says is that, yeah, it brings out the general frustration that people have with Nintendo. And it does. Like how finicky they are with the ambassador program, their lack of an official eShop return policy. Some people got defensive with that. Yes, I know if you really want to get a return, you can call Nintendo. But as of now, their official eShop policy is once you buy something, that's it. Once you buy it, that's it. It sucks for you. You don't want the game. You don't want the Outer Worlds because it runs at 5 frames per second. Sucks. You got to deal with it. We don't have a return policy. And also, too, what drives me nuts about Nintendo is their heavy-handed IP protection. Okay? If someone uses Unreal Engine 4 to remake one level of Super Mario 64 just to show off how it would look because they want you to remake the game to look like that, Nintendo, and they're saying, hey, if you remake the game to look like this, we're hinting we'll give you our money. But Nintendo's response is, oh, we're sending lawyers after you and we'll ruin the rest of your life if you don't take down the one level that you're not asking money from people for, so you're not profiting from it. I hate that heavy-handed IP protection that Nintendo has. Even though I love Nintendo as a company to the point that I went out and searched for a $99 new Nintendo 2DS XL, which I got and I'm very happy with, that I bought 3 games for it, and I'm going to make a video on it. I love Nintendo. I own 3 Switches. I still think their policies suck in many ways. There's great things that Nintendo does, but holy crap, they could be dumbasses sometimes. So yeah, I think that's what happened with Wood's original video, is that people are frustrated with Nintendo, and it draws people to videos like that because everyone has their own issues and frustrations with Nintendo, so I totally agree with that. And Wood also feared that no longer being part of the ambassadors program may have hurt him on YouTube. It won't. And yeah, he sees that too. It kind of proved when he made that video and saw, like, yeah, I saw he had a huge jump in subscribers and viewership, so on and so forth. It won't. Just keep making content that you know that your audience likes and that you like to make, Wood, and you'll be fine. You know, I'm sure the ambassador program did help you because there's a lot of people who are very enthusiastic about Nintendo, and you are, and that's what drew people to your channel, but you'll be all right. You don't need the Nintendo ambassador program to keep being relevant on YouTube. But this one, I get to, and then I get that I'm making my followers or subscribers go attack somebody because I have an opinion on them. And he was saying that followers were saying nasty things to Nintendo on social media, and they probably burnt the bridge more with Nintendo than his initial video did. I hate when people do that, and that's why I always try to have a disclaimer that, look, if I'm criticizing somebody, it doesn't mean that I want my audience to go and get their virtual e-swords and attack, but people do it anyway. One, because there's just that small portion of your audience that's dumbasses and they think they have to white knight for you. And 2, here's the flip side of it. There's people that don't like you, both you and me, Wood. There's people who just don't like us, who to them it's 4D chess. Oh, if they made a video being critical of Nintendo or a content creator or a live streamer or whatever, if we go and bother that person and then say, hey, Wood or Rich made this video on you and I thought it would be a good idea to defend them, they do it because they're hoping that it'll make us look bad. And they were probably doing the same. I'm sure some of those people who were leaving nasty things to Nintendo of America on Twitter, some of them were probably being genuine and wanted to defend you, which is, I wish people wouldn't do that. But I'm sure there were a couple too that were like, I'm going to use this opportunity to make Wood look bad right now. It's happened to me. I know, man. I know how it's, you got to remember, it's a small portion, but this is what some people do. They get off on it and they're like, oh, Wood wants to make a video being critical of Nintendo. I don't really like the guy, or I don't really like Review Tech USA because he was critical of XYZ. I'll go bother them on Twitter. And then they could turn around and say that, oh, Rich sent his audience to harass me, or Wood sent his audience to harass me. It's annoying, but that's the reality of it, and that's how the troll mindset works, because they're crazy. Ooh, 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 ooh. Now, he was talking about how he really doesn't think his Zelda Breath of the Wild mod video could be an issue. He just doesn't think it was. I know this is speculation, but say they were sitting there like, hey, we're changing the Nintendo Ambassador program again. What's something like we need to like kind of thin the herd a little bit? What's something that someone has done that could maybe be like, we got to get rid of them? Oh, BeatEmUps did a video showing mods in one of our games. You know how Nintendo is with their IPs, man. And if they were looking for a straw to break the camel's back and to get someone off the ambassadors program, that would be one of them. Now, and very well may not have been. Maybe it was you talking about your mental health issues, which you've done, which, hey, man, I could relate, so on and so forth. It could be one of those things. But if there was, especially because it was a relatively new video and you were like kind of on the brink and they were looking to, you know, shrink how many ambassadors they had, that would be a great excuse, because you know how Nintendo is with protecting their intellectual property. Now, he kind of doubles down in that, saying, look, he had a negative review of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and he called out Nintendo for microtransactions, and they didn't drop him then. But again, okay, that's awesome, and I'm glad even though you were an ambassador, you kept it real with certain things, but that wasn't modifying their property. Nintendo, when it comes to their IP, that stuff I could see them being okay with, or even if they weren't okay with not dropping you for. But once you start modifying a game and showing people how to do gray area things, that's a reason to drop you. So, hey, I'm glad they didn't drop you for speaking your mind, but once you start teetering and modifying, like I said, whether it be making an Unreal Engine Super Mario 64 one level for free, or showing how to modify Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, they have no tolerance for that. And even if they didn't come to you and say, look, this isn't okay, behind the scenes, that may have been what made them want to cut ties with you. Now, Wood thought he was the only one that was dropped from the Nintendo's Ambassadors program. There was another content creator called Yoshiller that was also dropped. He posted on Twitter. It is what it is, man. I think both of you will be fine. And you don't need Nintendo's. If they're still sending you review copies, if they weren't paying you, which they weren't, that's all that matters. So it is what it is. And I could explain this one. And Wood said this, and other people have agreed with it. The larger your channel gets, the less Nintendo wants to support you. You know why? You said in your original video, the more famous you become, if you screw up, the more public it will be. So if you have your, God forbid, and I'm sure it will never happen to Wood, and I will never go down that route, if you ever have your Jared Fogle moment, it's much more public. Whereas if you're a small creator, look, you could have 5 subscribers, and Nintendo's kind of like Apple. If you, I guarantee you, if you have a smaller channel and you want to unbox a 2DS XL, even though this is kind of an old product, it'll still get a decent amount of views. Nintendo knows that, so they rather go with a smaller creator that if they do something stupid, it doesn't have as big of a chink in Nintendo's armor, than keep working with bigger creators that, one, are more successful, and Nintendo's like, hey, you're making your own money now, you don't need the free review copies from us. And if that bigger creator does something stupid, it's more public, whereas working with smaller creators, you'll still make money off of them because Nintendo products always get views. And if they do something dumb, it just kind of goes under the radar. That's speculation, This is just me having a big brain idea as to why they think the way they do. That's why I think the bigger the creator, the more Nintendo distances themselves, even if that big creator's been very devoted to Nintendo. And like Wood said, he was never paid by Nintendo, so it wasn't that he was shilling for them. He has genuine enthusiasm for the company. So look, again though, even though he wasn't paid, it just shows the bigger problem when whether you're an ambassador or you're sponsored by a company or you even have to work with a company. I said this in my other video. This is why you see YouTubers who toe the line. Even when they get a product to review, it seems more like they're working on QVC, where they won't really go after the flaws of the product. They won't really tell you if you should buy it or not, but they'll tell you to make sure to go to the link in the description, which I'm not... Look, I've ripped products, new ones, and still told people, hey, if you're going to buy it anyway, even though I think it sucks, go to the affiliate link because I'll get a little money back, even though I don't recommend buying it. I'm not even talking about that, but they're never... The review just seems more like overviews, if you've noticed. And there's exceptions. Dave 2D is an exception. MKBHD is an exception. Linus Tech Tips is an exception. Jay's 2 Cents. They'll go after companies. Also, too, their channels are so big, like I said, that the companies like Intel and AMD have to deal with them because they get millions of views. But there's a big majority of even large YouTubers their size that I watch their videos. I'm like, you're just playing nice. You're just playing ball because you don't want to, break the chain. You don't want to, ruin your tie with that company when you should be honest and review it and say bad things about it. Because I know, whether from buying a product myself, going by some of their reviews, or from other reviews where people are more honest, that thing isn't as good as you're making it out to be. You're just trying to be as neutral as possible to not offend any audience base and to keep your ties with the company. And that's why, man, I rather go my own path on this website. I'm not saying that I'll ever bully anybody. I'm not saying that, I'll break YouTube's rules, but I don't want to be confined to a space because an audience or a company wants me to be. So, Wood, in the end, Nintendo probably did you a favor. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoy my content, consider becoming a Review Tech USA member. I'll have a link below in the description. I live stream now on this channel all the time, and it gives you access to cool emoticons to use as well while I live stream. Again, link below in the description. Thank you for your continued support.